Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are discussing a very interesting book. We are discussing Territory of Light by Yuko Tsushima. Now, this book I initially didn't actually pick. I was sent this book by Penguin Classics, as this is a Japanese book from the 70s, a serialized Japanese novel, which has recently been retranslated into English and published by Penguin Classics. And the team at Penguin Classics said this has very strong themes of feminism and women-centric characters and stories, and we thought these are the things that you like, that you'd find this interesting. And I was like, yes, great. I don't read enough Japanese literature, so I was really interested in this. And it's a wonderful thing when people know your interests and are able to recommend books that you'd like, because I never would have discovered this book or probably even picked up this book had it not been recommended to me. And now I read this book, and this book was written 40 years ago. And it was so ahead of its time. Like, this book was way ahead of its time, and the decision therefore by Penguin Classics to retranslate this and reprint this is a cracking one. Okay, Territory of Light. So we are set in Tokyo in the 1970s, and 78 to 79, and this book was initially a collection of serialized essays. So there was a Japanese monthly literary magazine in the 1970s, and Yuko submitted 12 monthly installments where she followed the same character through 1 year of her life, and therefore by the end creating the single story, which is reprinted in its entirety here. So Yuko wrote about a woman. This woman is, at the beginning of the book, about to become a single mother. She has wanted a divorce from her husband for ages, and now she's finally got it, but she's also been left with this as the sole carer of their 2-year-old daughter. What this follows then, this year that we follow in this woman's life, first person, deeply connected to this woman's, who I don't think she's ever named in the book, is we watch this woman's slow descent. And what we realise is this is a book that really challenges how we think about mothers, how we think about women, and how women often find themselves in motherhood losing themselves, and battling not just the responsibility of caring for a young child, but also battling with the loss of self. And that's what makes this book so ahead of its time, because even more than this, Yuko has written a female character, a woman who we are not entirely sympathetic with at great passages during this book. So during this woman's descent, she's obviously pushed out by her husband, and she's got this daughter to look after. What we then follow is her descent into drinking, to perhaps inappropriate casual sex, and perhaps sort of not being fully responsible for her daughter's care, not prioritizing her daughter's health and whereabouts in her daily life. Yuko is inviting us to judge this woman. Yuko is saying to us, look, this woman is having casual sex. She is going out and drinking while her daughter's sleeping at home. I want you to judge her as a bad woman. And you do at parts, you do wince and think, you cannot do these things with your responsibility. But that is, of course, the point that Yuko is trying to make, is that it is not easy for many women to be a mother, even more so a single mother. And here Yuko is really emphasizing the loss of self that comes with motherhood. How women often start trying to go through their times as a mother thinking, well, who am I? Who was I? Who was I before I got married? What have I lost between now and then? Am I still the same person who got married? Or what changed me? Did I just grow up, or have I actually changed as a person? And can I go back to who I was and start again? And it's that power, that lack of apology, that blow me away in this book, in Territory of Light. The reason why it's called Territory of Light, by the way, is quite Hedda Gabler-esque. Is Yuko has her woman falling into a depression, and that is demonstrated by the increasing blocking out of light in her flats that she lives in, that she can't take the sunlight. Very Ibsen, very Hedda Gabler, but that is why it's called the Territory of Light. And what you have is the literal and metaphorical blocking out of light. This is not an easy book to read, I would say, because you are invited to dislike this woman, and because, yes, it is inviting judgment, and we are in the hands of an unsympathetic character. But when I sit back And I finished reading this book of probably maybe a couple of weeks ago. I haven't really stopped thinking about it, and it blows me away that this book is 40 years old. I mean, if this book was published now by a English-speaking writer, it would be heralded as controversial, as breakthrough, as pioneering. And the sad thing is that Territory of Light by Yuko Tsushima is probably not going to go to the top of the bestseller list and is not going to get the full credit it deserves in the Western press. But I'm so glad I read this book, because it's another reminder to me that women are out there writing and have been for ages, and their lack of platform does not equate to the fact that their writing may be lacking in quality. This is a superbly written book. It is dark. You're not going to come away thinking it's the best book you've ever read, but it really demonstrates that women writers are out there and have been for ages, writing really pioneering psychological stuff, and they just haven't been given the credit they deserve. So if, like me, these kind of themes interest you, it's a little slim book and you want something to read, perhaps on holiday or on your way home, you can't go much wrong than Yuko Tsushima's Territory of Light. It's a really interesting book that was clearly way ahead of its time.